Namaskar दोस्तों, welcome to Master Family. In today's sessions, we are going to discuss about the Fiscal Health Index 2025, which is recently released by Niti Aayog, and this is the first edition of such report. This report basically highlights the fiscal status of the different states, how these states are performing in terms of fiscal consolidation and fiscal stability. As perhaps you know that, as per the NK Singh committee report, that fiscal conditions or the fiscal health of the state should also be improved, and the total debt of the government should be not more than 60%. That is means there should be the 40% debt to GDP ratio for the central government and the 20% for the states. So दोस्तों, आज के इस सेशन में हम लोग ये समझेंगे जो क्या what are the reality of the different states. As you know that on the 1st of the February, a budget session is going to start and budget will be presented in the parliament. So in such type of situation, such report will really give the insights that how which type of states are really in the debt ridden, and what are the steps should be taken by the finance minister to take out such type of states. So is in this report the top performing five, there are the five top performing states. In that, Odisha has secured the first rank, and the FHI score is at 67.8 67.8. Similarly, second position is the for the Chhattisgarh, third is for Goa, fourth is Jharkhand, and the fifth one is the Gujarat. So these five states are the top performing. It means that their fiscal conditions are really good, and they are not totally dependent upon the central government for different types of the fiscal stimulus. Also, that their debt to GDP ratio is not so high. Similarly, their fiscal deficit is less than 3%. So these are the some of the criteria. On that basis, we can say that these states are in the really good shape in terms of fiscal consolidation and the fiscal landscape. Similarly, these bottom five states highlight that their fiscal conditions are really not good, and some steps should be taken to bail out such type of states. Specifically, Punjab, whose debt to GDP ratio are increasing. Earlier it was around 41%. Now it is going to increase to the 46%. So these type of conditions are not good for these states. As you know, as per the fiscal responsibility FRBM act, that fiscal deficit of all the states should be reduced below 3%. So in such type of situation, when their debt to GDP ratio are really high, so in such type of situation they will not be able to achieve the FRBM act 2018 target. In such type of situations, their developmental activities will be really low, and then all over the fiscal conditions will be not good, and the employment generations or the different types of welfare schemes will be hindered, as these states don't have the sufficient money to sustain such type of the different initiatives for the upliftment of the different sections of the society. Now, friends, we will discuss about the what is the present status of the fiscal deficit in the different states. As we have already discussed that as per the NK Singh committee, that total debt to GDP ratio for the government, which will include central government and state government, it should be the 60%. 40% is for the central government and 20% is the for the state government. But in the financial year 2021, total debt to GDP ratio has increased to 89% of the GDP, and it should be less than 60%. But debt to GDP ratio for the all the states and the central government, it has increased to 89.5%. So that is not good. The reason may be due to the COVID. Economic conditions or economic activities has reduced, and that may be the factor to increase in the debt to GDP ratio for including the central government as well as state government. Similarly, as per the expected estimations, that central government in the fiscal deficit is around 4.9%, but in the new financial year it will be reduced to the 4.5%. But as you know that FRBM Act 2018 target is 3%. That fiscal deficit should be either for the central government or state government, it should be reduced to 3%. So it's very difficult because that already that fiscal deficit target is 3%, but there are estimations that fiscal deficit will be around 4.5%. So governments, central government or as well as state government should take different steps to increase their revenue receipt as well as non-revenue receipt. Revenue as well as non-revenue receipt should be increased. It means that tax rate should be increased, tax base should be increased. Similarly, non-tax revenue sources should be enhanced so that total overall fiscal deficit can be reduced for central government as well as for the state government. Now we will discuss that what are the indicators or what are the criteria taken by the FHI, that is the fiscal health index. On that basis they have evaluated the different states. So first is the quality of expenditure, that because these type of things will help you to write an answer in a better way. Quality of expenditure, it means that whether the expenditure done by state government or central government are for the development activity or it is for the non-developmental activity. Non-development activity basically salary, pension, these are all example of the non-development activity, but the development activity will include roadways, highway. These things are helpful in creating the long-term infrastructure which will really helpful for the growth of the economy in the longer term. So those states who are focusing more on the developmental expenditure will get a more score, as the quality of expenditure is one of the indicator. Similarly, a second indicator is revenue mobilization, whether the states are getting the revenue either through the non-tax revenue or the tax revenue, but not through the different type of the debt process. So if the states are generating enough revenue, then it is those states will get the good score. Similarly, their third target is the fiscal prudence. It means that target is that fiscal deficit should be reduced and it should be reduced to less than 3%. Similarly, debt index means that whether if the government is taking debt, whether these debt are for the purpose of debt servicing, it means that either the states are using such type of debt for the interest payment, then such type of states fiscal conditions will deteriorate day by day. But if the states are taking debt but those debts are used for the long term infrastructure project, so such type of debt is really good. It will not cause a lot of problem. So these, similarly, the debt sustainability means how the different states are able to sustain such type of the debt. So basically there are the 5 indicator. On that basis all the GHI, that is the fiscal health index score are generated. These are the some of the 5 criteria. On that basis these FHI scores, that is fiscal health index score, are generated. So we have understand that fiscal health index 2025, which is recently released by Niti Aayog, will be really helpful to different to policy maker to understand the fiscal conditions of the different states and what steps should be taken by the different states to protect their economy and then reduce their fiscal deficit. And if their fiscal deficit will be reduced, they can utilize such type of the debt for the long term infrastructure processes. तो दोस्तों thank you for listening. Similarly, there are the 4 categories. On that basis different states have been classified. So fiscal health index, there are the 4 category. On that basis different states have been classified. One category is the achievers, then there is a front runner, then is the performer, and there is the aspirational states are the worst performing states or the last performing states, and the achievers are the top 5 performing states are in the achiever category, specifically Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Goa, Jharkhand, and these are also all the mineral states, mineral producing states. So these states are in the category of the achiever. Similarly, there is a front runner, and similarly there is a performer. So these are the 4 categories or category. On that basis different states have been classified on the basis of the report released by the fiscal health index of the Niti Aayog. So friends, we have studied about the fiscal health index report in detail, which are the states are the top performing, which are the worst performing, what is the importance of these reports, how, what is the different type of fiscal conditions of the different states, what are the steps should be taken to improve the fiscal conditions of the different states. Friends, thank you for listening to this episode. We will meet soon.